What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. And that is we're going to compare two different nib sizes for the Lamy 2000. I purchased the medium nib myself about a year ago or so, and I actually won from Take Note Store. They had a contest on Instagram, and I won one, so I thought I'd get a fine nib and do a little bit of a comparison for you. I lost my tripod, by the way. That's why I'm doing this in my hand. So sorry about that, guys. But anyways, the Lamy 2000 sweet spot is always talked about as far as people being nervous about it, people not having it bother them. Personally, it doesn't bother me on my medium nib. It really is so big anyways that it doesn't matter. For the fine nib, I do notice a little bit more of a smaller sweet spot, but I have a writing comparison between the two, and I really wanted to focus on the difference between the medium nib and the fine nib, because I find that that's what I get the most questions about. So I'm going to flip you around, and we're going to take a look at what is what. So obviously on the left is the Lamy 2000 medium filled with KWZ honey, and on the right is Lamy 2000 fine filled with Waterman Absolute Brown. So right off the bat, you can tell that there's a fairly significant size difference when it comes to just the written word between the fine nib and the medium nib, which is interesting because if you are familiar at all with the Safari or All-Star, I don't really notice much of a difference between fine and medium with their steel counterparts, but with the Lamy 2000, a gold nib, I certainly notice the difference. So on my right is the fine, on my left is the medium, and you can kind of tell, if my camera could focus, just the difference just by looking at the nib. You can definitely tell that this one is fine and this one is bigger. I wish I had a broad so that I could even compare that, but I don't. So I do notice that with the Lamy fine, it will start off nice and wet like this, but the more that I write, it does tend to have a decreased ink flow and gets a little bit drier as I write. But as far as the sweet spot goes, if I roll the nib here, it does definitely have a sweet spot. But after using it for quite a while now, you really don't have any issues with it. Or at least I didn't. Other than the fact that, like I said, it does tend to dry out a little bit as you write. It'll start nice and wet, and then it will dry a little bit. With the medium nib, I don't have that issue whatsoever. I don't know, there should be the same feed and all that, so I'm not really sure why the fine does that. But with the medium one, definitely no issues. As far as the sweet spot, it has a slightly bigger sweet spot than the fine nib, but again, unless you seriously rotate your pen, you're really, again, not going to have any issues. As far as the feel between the two go, the medium is a little bit smoother, a little bit, but really it isn't that it's necessarily more smooth or that the fine is more scratchy. It really comes down to the fact that it is a finer nib. So you still are going to get a very smooth feeling. It's just that you're going to get slight more feedback than you would with the medium nib. And that is pretty much something that you're going to see across the board with all pens, versus having a broad nib or something like that. Line variation wise on the fine nib, you can push it a little bit, almost to that medium size, but these are hooded nibs, so you're not going to get a whole lot of line variation, even though it is a gold nib. With the medium, can probably push it to a bit of broad. So you can definitely get a little bit still, but these are no means like flex pens. Like, do not buy this pen if you're wanting to get any kind of flex out of it, because it's not going to happen. But do I think that the pen is worth it? Absolutely. This one is one of my favorite pens. I'm really happy that I have a fine, because I like the fact that there is such a difference as far as line variation goes. And I'm really glad that that actually makes a difference. Like I said, this one here is just ever so slightly, smaller sweet spot, ever so slightly more feedback. But really, it's still everything I expect from a Lamy 2000. And I absolutely would recommend it. And as far as, personal preference, I still prefer the medium over the fine. But if you're looking between the two, they're both beautiful, and I would recommend both. It just simply comes down to whether you want a thicker line or a thinner line. There really isn't a whole lot of other difference. So hopefully this answered a lot of the questions that I get with regards to the sweet spot and whether the fine or medium is better. They're both great. It just depends on the way that you personally write. So guys, that's going to be it for this quick video. I hope you liked it. I hope it helped. If you haven't yet done so already, do hit that thumbs up button. Feel free to leave any comments, questions, or concerns down in the comment section below. And if you click on my little hello picture profile there, you can subscribe and you'll get a notification every time that I post a video, which is every Monday and Friday, and the occasional Q&A will pop up on Tuesdays. So guys, as always, I will see you next time. Bye!